Diana. Thank you, colleagues. Can we settle down? Thank you. Thank you. Can we settle down? Notice is hereby given in terms of Section 29 of the Local Government Municipal Structures Act 117 of 1998 that a council meeting of the 2016-2021 term of the Garden Route District Municipality will be held via Zoom on Wednesday, 28 July 2021 at 11 to consider the items as set out in the agenda. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our Executive Mayor. Good morning, Alderman. Our Deputy Executive Mayor, members of our Mayoral Committee, all other colleague councillors, our Municipal Manager, with his precious staff, executive management, everybody that's tuned in. Thank you so much for joining us in this meeting. And I wish our colleague councillors and our MM very productive meeting. As per usual, we have very constructive debates in this chamber. And I'm looking forward to chair this meeting for you. May I please request that we have a silence? I said that Angel Richa, and as well to our Alderman Gericke, who's lost his sister. And I wish everybody also a speedy recovery that's struggling with this pandemic. Let's also think of them and all the victims of the unrest that our beautiful country experienced. Can I please ask all gentlemen to please stand so that we also will never forget the fight against gender-based violence. Thank you. Thank you very much. Be seated. Colleagues, we experienced, or we tried, our IT also tried their level best. There's a problem or a challenge with connection at times. So if we do experience some break in communication, we're trying our level best, but I think it's no city or town at this stage in time. But let's pray that we will have a good communication throughout. Can I then ask for the attendance of all councillors present? Diana, is it possible that you can lead us in this? Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, all councillors and officials present. We have in attendance speaker the following councillors: Councillor May, Councillor Space, Alderman Boyson, Councillor Rousseau, Councillor Lose, Councillor Barker, Councillor Gungubele, Councillor Kamte, Councillor Harris, Councillor Windvogel, Councillor Strubel, Elder Lady Kritzinger, Councillor Fry, Alderman van der Hoeven, Elder Lady Tahisi, Councillor Busak, Councillor Tekolo, Elder Lady Wolmerans, Councillor Mbandezi, yourself speaker, Councillor Meyer, Elder Lady Reiters. That's all, speaker.
Thank you very much. That is a clear indication that we do correct and that we can proceed with our meeting. I've received applications for...
Proceed, Speaker. Sorry, I wanted to submit an application for leave, but you've got the floor.
Thank you, Alderman. I've received an application for leave of absence from Councillor Makupeni, from Alderman De Vries, and Alderman Gericke. These are the applications for leave of absence that I've received, and it's approved. Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. Any addition to these that I mentioned?
I'm covered, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman.
Sorry,
Emmett?
Speaker, I'm in and my name wasn't mentioned. Jenny
Good morning.
Hartnick, my name wasn't mentioned and I'm in.
Very good morning. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, colleague councillor. Can we then proceed by noting the provisions of Schedule 1 of the Code of Conduct for Councillors? You can note that. Thank you. And then we can move to the disclosure of interest by councillors and officials. Any colleague councillor that would like to submit his recusal of specific item or items to be considered today? Or any staff member? If none, thank you very much. Can we then grant the opportunity to our Executive Mayor, Alderman Boyson, for his communications? Thank you so much, Mr. Executive Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and cold good morning and a welcome to everybody to this meeting. Mr. Speaker, and those who are joining us from home, I believe we're probably also streaming as well. Warm welcome to everybody and thank you for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, you've alluded to the people whom we've lost in the past couple of days, and indeed, Mr. Speaker, our lives are changing on a daily basis. Pandemic and also other unrelated factors, but it also leads to some of us losing loved ones in the process. And our condolences are going out to everybody who's been affected. We know sometimes it's a mother, it's a father, it's a sister, it's a brother, aunt and uncle, grandchildren. Our prayers are going out to everybody who's been affected in this regard. Mr. Speaker, the reality of the matter, colleagues, is that we are still very, very worried because the numbers are indeed rising and rising in the Garden Route. And if I'm not mistaken, just in the last couple of days, there has been a 29% increase in positive cases. So again, to all the Garden Routers, we really beg everybody to be as safe as possible and to stay within the perimeters of all the regulations. By now, we know what is expected of us. It's a matter of us just sticking to that. We know that fatigue is a reality. People are now starting to talk about COVID-19 fatigue, but we should not allow the fatigue to cause us to lower our guard. So we are very worried, and to all the Garden Routers, can we please finish the race in terms of dealing with the regulations in the relevant manner. And at the very same time, Mr. Speaker, and everybody who can hear us, that we do encourage people to go and get their jabs. We do encourage people to go and register. We're also aware that there's a lot of fake news going around in terms of the impact of the injections, etc. When I went for my jab, there's a period where you need to sit for about 15 minutes so that they can deal with any side effects, etc. And I spoke to a couple of doctors who were part of the process. In fact, it is normal to have side effects. Doctors prefer some bit of
I'm losing you, Speaker. Speaker, I can't hear the mayor.
COVID-19 fatigue. I'm going to
Perhaps it's just me, Speaker. just indicate to me, but I can't hear a word that the mayor is saying.
Same here, Alderman Herman Pieters for communications. I can also not hear anything.
Same on this side.
Councillor Barker, Sam, I cannot hear anything.
Councillor
Hello?
Lichara, we can't hear.
Hello, Councillor Barker.
I know we made a request, and I want to say thank you to Eden FM as well and all the other media houses which assisted in getting the message across. And we did not have riots in the Garden Route, and we want to say thank you, and we must continue in that vein to make sure that we deal with matters within our communities, within our constituencies, but it should not just be based on riots or anything that is negative. We now need to continue in this vein that we need to keep our communities together. We know there's still a lot that people are not happy about, but this was a clear indication that if we do put heads together, if we do sit around the same tables, we can resolve matters. And I'd like to convey to all the people in the Garden Route our gratitude as the Garden Route District Municipality, and on behalf of all the other mayors, because I do believe and I know that all the municipalities were actively involved in curbing what we saw in those other two provinces. But my plea now is that we need to continue on all facets of life to make sure that we maintain this momentum of togetherness. Mr. Speaker, I've also alluded a couple of times to a project which is overdue in terms of us launching it, and that is to walk a child to school. I'd like to say thank you again to all those who have made their contributions, who have bought shoes. Those shoes are still within our possessions, the different partners. The reason why we have not distributed as yet, because the level 4 regulations have prohibited us once again by engaging on a mass scale, but it is a project which we still need to roll out. And I know that the people behind the scenes are working on a program, and we will then inform the people of the Garden Route in due time on when will we continue with that rollout. Again, we know that, as I said earlier on, that the figures are still rising, so we don't want to create unnecessarily super spreaders, but I'm open to advice, and I know that people will advise me accordingly, but we did not forget about the walk a child to school. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I know that for the past couple of days, it didn't go well with us, especially on the sporting front. I know that Kaizer Chiefs, they disappointed us in the CAF final a couple of days ago. I don't know whether it's because of nature. When you have a Springbok against a Lion, there can only be one winner. And it didn't go well with us in Cape Town. And sporting-wise, this morning, I was traveling with Councillor Spies, and he was so deflated. You know, he was referring to the Blitzbokke in Argentina. So really didn't go well up until a couple of hours ago. We got the greatest news for us as Garden Routers. We want to congratulate all our Olympians. Just being in the team makes you a winner already, but we know that there are only a few medals. Not everybody can achieve a medal. So we want to say thank you to those who did achieve some medals, but I want to bring it home. And I want to say that we are chuffed. We are in good spirit. One of our own, Bianca Buitendag, she's a local lady. She's from George. She's from the Garden Route. We're going to call her now our own Silver Lady. And we can't wait for her to land again in South Africa, especially in George. and so that we can celebrate with her. So well done to Bianca Buitendag, to her and her family, her coaching team. We're very proud of her. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Executive Mayor. Alderman van der Werven.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm going to try to be very short, Speaker, but there are a few things that I must reflect on, and that is firstly the virus. The virus is still with us, Speaker, but it seems to get worse, and that is a matter of concern. We need to speed up the vaccination process and stick to all regulations. Our serious concern is that we notice that there's a shortage of vaccines in the Western Cape, and hopefully that can be resolved soonest. The ANC is condemning any form of unlawlessness in the strongest possible terms, and we will do anything in our authority to prevent any form of such nature with reference to the looting that took place the last few weeks. The quest is that we revive the walk to school program at the beginning of the school year when it is really a need. Surely by then we will still be in office. As far as the Olympics are concerned, we are applauding on the ANC side for Bianca Buitendag. She is really making us proud. We're looking forward for more medals at the Olympics, but at least the Southern Cape has performed. That's it, Speaker.
But thank you, Alderman van der Werven. You can try to unmute yourself again just to complete your input.
Speaker, I just want to say that you are not very clear from where you are sitting. I'm sure there's one of the wires has a disconnection or something.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Keep recording. Thank you. For the excellent product that they developed on our terms achievements. Mr. Mayor, it's indeed something to be very proud of. And I share it as widely as possible to really say to everyone out there, it can be done. It can be done.
Can you just repeat what you're referring to, because I lost that. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Thank you, Alderman. What I'm talking about is I'm congratulating the Executive Mayor and the communications team on the product that they developed regards to our achievements for this current term. It's really very special. And I would really sincerely would like to thank our everybody within the administration as well that made these achievements possible and a reality. It clearly indicates that we've got passion and we do action with passion on what we. Serious thanks from the chair side as well, Mr. Mayor, for that. Then I would also like to, my apologies, I forgot my reading glasses, but I'll try my best. August, 9 months back, before August was quite a busy month. We are celebrating the following councillors' birthdays. It's Councillor Wilbur Harris, that's on the 5th of August. And then we've got Councillor Elder Lady Iona Kritzinger on the 4th of August. We've got Councillor Kaeletu Loose on the 24th of August. And we've got, if you just see, yeah, we've got Councillor Elder Lady Tobeka Taisi on the 12th of August. And Ben, Councillor Ben van Wyk on the 25th of August. Well, I think there are Leos. I know I'm a Libra, so there are a lot of lions in our den, birthday in August. But congratulations, many happy returns, and blessings in abundance for your very brand new year. Colleagues, then I would just like to request again. I'm listening. Thank you. I would just like to request again. I'm not going to name and shame, but I've got a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 councillors that must still please submit the declaration of interest, those forms. We know that the Auditor General is very strict there, regards that. And please, can councillors just submit their completed forms in that regard? I'll appreciate that a lot. Thank you. That is all from my side. Thank you, Municipal Manager. Looking forward to your communications. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning. Good morning, Executive Mayor and councillors, colleagues. Speaker, there's a few, I think about 4 issues that I would like to communicate. Firstly, as you have already spoken about, Speaker, tomorrow is the memorial service of our late Renis Benbai. I made a mistake at the make when I said today. It's actually tomorrow. We hope to send her off in good spirits. Speaker, you've spoken, Mr. Mayor, about the COVID-19 impact. Indeed, it's quite scary what is taking place. In terms of the institution, we are still operating at 50% with staff rotating. Currently, we've got 4 active cases with 99 people that have recovered out of 111. Fortunately, the number of the deceased has now increased to 8. We do not have anyone, as far as I am aware, as I sit here in hospital. We hope those colleagues that are still battling with the virus, we wish them speedy recovery. And as the Mayor has said, we wish to encourage everyone to please take your jabs. There's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of fear and misinformation that is taking place. You see people marching in Cape Town, in London, with all sorts of conspiracy theories. The reality is that the vaccine works and it helps people. Please do take it. The provincial government with national are working very hard to ensure that vaccines are available in numbers. And we now know, all of us, that the Rebecca site of Aspen has started to ship out the vaccines for the AU starting here in South Africa. So even those people that are still scared or are not sure, it is much, much better to take your vaccine than not to. like any other medication, Mr. Mayor, you are right, there will be side effects, but you will not get severely ill. You will not need hospitalization. Obviously, like in any experience we have as humans, there will be odd numbers. There is nothing that is 100% proof that humans have developed. So it's better that we take the vaccine. Mr. Speaker, you have just referred to the declarations by councillors. We have started with our year-end activities, part of which is those declarations. We really want to ask councillors to please, for us to finalize everything, including financial statements, we need those declarations. We have started, we do have little challenges capacity-wise due to some staff that is affected directly or indirectly by COVID and everything. But we are quite confident that we'll be able to finalize the financial statements in good time. The Auditor General has told us that this week they are signing off all the PFMA audits, which is your provincial and national departments and the state entities, which means there'll be no extension for us to submit in November or October. We want everybody to please cooperate and assist us. Mr. Speaker, there is quite an important matter. I think Councillor van der Hoeven, the Alderman, mentioned it in passing when we are talking about the back to school or being.
Speaker, I seem to have lost the audio. I can't hear the MM.
I don't want to be out of order, Speaker, but I can also not hear anything. Sorry for the interruption. I will never interrupt the Speaker or the Mayor or the MM, but here I have got no choice.
I paused, councillors. You've lost nothing when we tried to reconnect. I was saying there are so many implications of the adoption of that report by the IEC, because they must now approach the electoral court or the constitutional court. I think they will go to the constitutional court and seek an extension. Now, there are quite fundamental issues that must be ventilated, Speaker. One of the founding provisions of the constitutional order that we have is regular elections. And it therefore means when an election has happened and the term has ended, there must be another election, unless the constitution is amended. And to amend the founding provisions, you may need no less than 75% in the National Assembly. And the Constitutional Court will not easily tamper with the founding provisions of the Constitution, which therefore leaves us with a distinct possibility that come the end of October, which is your 90 days after the lapse of the term of council, we may not have legally elected councils, which then leaves a lot of chaos in terms of how local government must be administered. And I think the Constitutional Court will have to be asked to pronounce on that, because anybody, an individual or a political party, can challenge and say, in terms of the Constitution, your term has ended. Therefore, you cannot claim any authority on any government structure. That's one important thing that may happen. Secondly, there are many municipal managers whose contracts are coming to an end during this time and up to early next year, who can only be appointed by legally constituted councils. And we may end up with serious administrative situations. And we believe that it's very important, over and above the actual extension there are many permutations, and I think political parties and leaders must really not forget those, and I don't think they can forget such important issues. That then has got an impact on the processes of this council. In January, you're supposed to approve an adjustments budget. In December, you're supposed to approve the annual report in terms of HUL 63. And those are mandatory processes that need to happen. There's staff that is linked to political offices whose contracts are linked to those people, and those contracts are linked to terms. What happens to them? So there are a lot of implications. What we are saying is that leaders, chief whips, mayors, councillors, in your political spaces, that nothing is left unattended, because we need whoever goes to the Constitutional Court to ensure that all those matters are addressed, so that if at all the elections are postponed, then we do that. Because it's also a distinct possibility that they may not be postponed, given all the challenges and the behavior of the virus and the vaccination program that is taking place. So there's a lot of things that can happen. So we thought we should bring that to the attention of council and councillors individually and collectively. Lastly, Speaker, you would note in the agenda, we've got quite interesting and groundbreaking items which are going to need leadership and bravery, because this municipality, with its growth and development strategy having been adopted and moving forward, we are going to be getting into uncharted waters. You saw there's an item already on fresh produce market, which is groundbreaking on its own. But over and above that, you also have your green energy item on a clear proposal to establish an entity for the municipality. But we'll discuss those when we come to them, but we think it's quite important items and many others that are contained in the report. I think you've seen the development in the skills maker process. There's quite interesting developments there that need serious leadership. It's always a pity that some of these things, by their nature, start to take shape at the end of the term of council. And we hope that in South Africa we learn that when the new rulers in various government spheres do not change everything, but maybe continue with what had been done. That's the communication from my side, Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. It's a unique situation regards to elections, and hopefully our legal minds, the top brass, and especially the Constitutional Court, they face huge challenges to solve this problem. Not a problem, but it's something that has to be addressed. But thank you so much for that, for your input. We really realize and take it to heart that all hands should be on deck to resolve this issue. It's a constitutional nightmare, if I may call it, that needs to be resolved. Thank you so much. With regards to the walking children to school, thank you for that, Alderman Executive Mayor. Just a correction on my communications with regards to that. In my announcements, the previous council, I announced that myself and Councillor Barker is contributing 18 pairs. So it's just that correction on my communications, but thank you also to those that participated in that project. Then, colleagues, I've received a message that Telkom is currently experiencing problems that is making the connection unstable, and that we did log a call to them. Our network is fine at this stage in time. So let's just note that the instability is not our intention to not to fix matters, but it's with Telkom. But we've already logged a call to them to ensure that we do have stable connection at all times. Thank you. Can we then move on? We are then on item 9 of our agenda, and that is the approval of the minutes of our council meeting that was held on the 22nd of June 2021. I've picked up some typos, which will be corrected before I sign it. I'm not going into detail. It's not critical, doesn't affect the content. It's just small, a slip of the finger, or when I type stuff on my computer, on my phone, it types something that I never wrote, but it went through. And I trusted that I typed correct, only to realize later on that it typed something else. But we'll correct it, those. As I say, that definitely not serious. My congratulations under these challenging times with regards to virtual meetings to produce us an excellent set of minutes of our meeting. Can I then get a proposal and a seconder on the correctness thereof?
Also propose speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Proposed by Elder Lady Kritzinger. Seconder.
Speaker, I second. Thank you. Councillor Strubel.
Thank you so much, Councillor Strubel. We then move to item 10. That's the minutes of the Mayoral Committee meeting and the Section 79 committee meetings that were held. Can we take cognizance, first of all, of the Mayoral Committee meeting that was held the 25th of May, and the minutes of the Occupational Health and Safety Committee meeting that was held the 13th of May, as well as the Education, Training and Development Committee that was held on the 14th of May. Can we take note of those minutes? Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Thank you, Executive Mayor. We then move to item 11 on our agenda. That's appointments, service exits, and labor relations information for June 2021. And you'll find it on pages 79 to page 86. Any input or comment there? Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger.
Yes, Chair, thank you so much. Just as far as this is a standing item, and we have this every month in our meeting. 6 new members have been appointed or employed by God District Municipality, and 4 members left, of which 2 retired. And then it's also an overview of the disciplinary cases and disputes lodged, and which is still in process. So I want to recommend that we adopt the recommendation on page 79 of this report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. If there are no further input or comments on this matter, can I then get a seconder for Elder Lady Kritzinger for that item?
Thank you, Speaker. I will second. Elder Lady Reuters.
Thank you, Elder Lady Deputy Executive Mayor. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move on? Section B1. That's a Section 52 report. We know that it's the responsibility or the prerogative of the Executive Mayor to table that report to us. And we're looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Mr. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you're correct. This is one of the responsibilities listed in the Municipal Finance Management Act in terms of what I must do and present to council, and today is no different. Mr. Speaker, I'm tabling this in regard of all the legal requirements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Any input or comment on this report?
I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, with the content.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Can we get a seconder then? That we adopt the report. Thank you, Councillor Lose. And from our side, Executive Mayor and your whole team, administration, congratulations. It's really something to be proud of. And I also shared, it's truly an example of, I may say, excellence, expertise that's displayed in this report of how it's done. Thank you, Evo. I see you looking at me, and I salute you on this matter with your whole team. Thank you, Emil. move to section. That's the municipal manager. It's on the recruitment of page 150. Any others?
Speaker, Telkom told you that. Speaker, I don't know if you can hear me, but Telkom told you that that they will sort out the problems, but seemingly they're not doing it. Can't hear anything, Speaker. Please take note that we've got this problem with the sound. I hope you can hear me at least.
I can also not hear anything, Mrs.
Hello,
Councillor
Councillor
Barker.
Barker.
Hello, Councillor van der Woofen.
I think we should meet now.
We should have the council meeting because we're the only two.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Barker. Alderman van der Woofen, we are now reconnected again. And apologies from Telkom that that our line is unstable. We will later consider if we accept that apology. But let's say, yeah, we accept the apology and please proceed, Alderman van der Woofen. Thank you.
No, I was just addressing the connection problems, but I noticed that Councillor Tabiseng's name is hand is up, so perhaps you should give her an opportunity.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tabiseng. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Speaker. Good morning to all councillors, administration, and also the public. Speaker, we note this item for the member of Apac. However, it would have been good if we could have had, when we talk about gender and equity, to have, another female in that space. Perhaps to make it more even equitable, to be a female, African female, it would have been good, so that it can truly represent in its full entirety. Yeah, so I think it would have been good, Speaker. It would have really have reflected a very good, and I believe there are female who are able to contribute in this space in the Southern Cape, and it would have been great if we included them in the pool. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Elder Lady Kersinger.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. The contract of advocate block will expire at the end of October this year, and therefore commissioners seek to recruit another member, preferably with legal expertise for a period of 3 years to serve on APAC. The equity policy must be considered. It is therefore that anything possibly should be done to get.
Once again, Speaker, the sound is very poor.
To get somebody with the right expertise and also to sort of basically address our equity policy, which in this case it would preferably be a female. So I would like to propose and accept the recommendation as on page 148. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kersinger. If there is no further input, can I then get a seconder?
Speaker, I will second Elder Lady Reuters.
Thank you, Deputy Executive Mayor. Can we then move on to the next item? C2 is the Audit and Performance Audit Committee Charter, pages 151 to page 167. Any input, comment, contributions to this report? I again repeat myself as per previous council meetings, if I do not see your hand and or the secretary do not see your hand, please just say speaker and I will give you opportunity to make your input. I don't hear any voices or see any hands. I see Elder Lady Kritzinger's hand. Elder Lady Kritzinger, thank you.
Yes, Speaker, thank you very much. Very slight amendments have to be made to the charter as far as the audit charter is concerned. Quorum change from half to 50% plus one, and the charter approved by Apac to recommend by Apac and then approved by council. So it's very slight and very changes of no significance that is basically addressed in this item. So the recommendation on page 151 is that council please approve this charter. I thus want to propose that we
Thank you very much, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Can I get a seconder then for that item, please? Thank you, Alderman Executive Mayor. Thank you. Can we then move to the next item, please? That is the APAC report on the internal audit risk management and performance management. It's pages 168 to page 191. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to thank Dr. Potgieter and the members of the Audit Committee and everybody that assisted them with compiling this report, from internal audit, his finance department, Ms. Holtzhausen, everybody there. Thank you very much, MM, for your cooperation with the APAC. I would like to propose that we note this report, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. Councillor Lechaba, please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we note the report and with the content. However, Speaker, I have, there is this matter that always bothers me, and I think I have said my sentiments or the thinking behind this in the Community Services Committee. There is this, whether it should be part of risk, but I want council to take, we know we must start to think about this as an enabler, because we're having and it's going to be a crisis at some point, that where the water quality in the district is not where it's supposed to be. The aging of infrastructure of the water in the different municipalities. I know we are not yet have a water authority entity, but it is a worry, because it's starting to deplete in a very high scale, and water is critical. Water is life, and water is supposed to be assisting us in this coronavirus, but if it's not in the quality that it's supposed to be, then it's a high risk. I see it as a risk. I do not know, but I just want a council to take note, because it is something that it has been discussed in the community services. Since it might not be directly linked to us, but it is a risk that it is with our district, and as an enabler, I think we should be able to assist in this matter. That is what I wanted to add. I take note of the report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Chaba.
Speaker, Councillor Hart, yes, there was a proposal, so I second that proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, colleague. Thank you, colleagues. Can we move on?
Speaker,
Councillor Chaba.
I have put something on the table. I understand the issues of seconded, but there was something prior to that, and I would like to get some kind of a response.
Thank you. Councillor, would you like to respond, make a further input? I don't know, ma'am, if you like to respond with regards to enabling situation as well as of the infrastructure, as I heard correctly. Please.
Might not be
Speaker, unfortunately, there's no sound on this side.
We can't hear Speaker.
No sound on my side, Speaker. Thank you.
Also, no sound in the Oudtshoorn committee room, Speaker.
Thank you. We're back again, online again. We had a short interruption. Councillor Spies still has the floor. Please proceed, Councillor Spies. Thank you.
Yes, Speaker. Basically, to repeat, I agree with Councillor Lachaba that the quality delivered to our residents seems the instances of poor quality varies and it's increasing in our municipalities. Unfortunately, about health and all of that, I'm not sure the powers and functions, the MM will be able to help us with that. And I'm sure Mr. Africa and it's not Mr. somebody else. I'm trying to think of the structure of the municipality and who's in charge of what. But I'm sure they will be able to guide us. And I think that then, as Councillor Lachaba suggested, that this would be forwarded to the chairperson of Apac to see if that is actually something that should be handled by the district and assessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. The Demonstrato, MM.
Thank you, Speaker. It's quite interesting that the angle Councillor Chaba is coming in is from a risk perspective. We have for years now raised the point that there is a serious need for the region to look at its bulk water infrastructure. And to that end, we suggested that Latin Route must become a water services authority. Now, over time, as you know, many of us believe that actually we're fine. We don't have problems of bulk water infrastructure. The reality will hit home. I mean, there is not one single municipality that has got a capacity in this region to augment or deal with its bulk water infrastructure backlog. They have no capital for that. Not one municipality can replace the more than 100 years bulk infrastructure that is lying underground in these municipalities. And we have said the only way is if we take it from a regional perspective to ensure that it's properly coordinated. I support the view that probably when we review our risk register, considering emerging risks, management should consider this as one of the key emerging risks in the region in terms of the possibility of this region not being able to be water security. But I think we can find solace in the knowledge in our own growth and development strategy. One of the pillars is to ensure that we have water security and bulk water infrastructure. Speaker, and I'm sure when we come back with our risk registers revised in the future, bulk water infrastructure provision or water security should be part of the high risks that this region must meet.
Thank you very much. I see a hand from Jock. I hope the house is not on fire, but please proceed.
Thank you and good morning, councillors and officials. Yes, no, we concur with the response from the MM, and we are also highly in support of the district development model. I think that will also address, the sustainable solution we need for water in our district. So thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Africa. I'm sorry, I mean, just from my side, I know how the risk register and identification and the review thereof works more or less, because I was very well tutored by Ilse 3 or 4 years ago on how to really interpret that. Is it possible that we can, when we do our risk, perhaps the external risks that also has an impact on the risks that we should face out of our control, but it's external risks? Is it possible that we can do that in addition to that? I'm just asking.
Indeed, Speaker, when we do or when we assess our risk environment, we do look at internal risks that come from inside and those that come from external circumstances.
Okay.
And some of the risks that we have in our register don't originate from internal. For instance, COVID-19 is a risk, is an external risk that impacts on the life and sustainability of this region as it's just as a people living here and so on. So we look at them in that manner and we rate them and see what controls can be put in place to mitigate those risks and how we manage the security that we still.
Thank you very much. That is helpful. Thank you, colleagues. Councillor Chaba, are you covered?
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you very much, MM, and I am covered. Thank you very much.
Can we then move to C4? That is report on the implementation of the performance management system within the Garden District Municipality. Pages 192, page 196. Yeah, Councillor Spies, thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the MMN's office, especially Ms. Simon, for the excellent work done and the fantastic program.
Once again, Speaker, you are offline. Councillor Spies is offline.
There's no sound, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven. Thank you. Alderman de Vries, welcome. Alderman, please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, mine is just a question. The report indicates that the development process has been completed. The question that I have relates to whether the scorecards have been developed now for all employees at all levels, or is that it's still in the implementation phase in terms of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman de Vries. Alderman van der Werven, would you like to come in, or are you fine?
I was not aware that Councillor Spies or Alderman Spies was in, de Vries was in, so he covered me. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other input or comments on this matter? Can we get a response to Alderman de Vries' input? Thank you, MM.
Thank you, Speaker. Indeed, we are taking a phased approach in the rollout of the individual performance. And we note that we are one of the leading municipalities. Councillor de Vries will that the process is up there. You must look at it. We have some point performance evaluation in the approach. We'll have that will take place every 6 months, and we have put there how that will be presented. But let me not take, Speaker, with your permission, the shine of the manager responsible maybe to respond and make some more explanation on the work that she's doing. I request, Speaker, that you allow Ms. Hill's assignment to give an input.
Thank you very much, Amen. Now we're looking forward to Ms. Simon's input.
Thank you, Speaker.
Ons is een ore. Dankie.
Yeah. Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, MM. Can you hear me from the side?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. To answer the question of Councillor de Vries, yes, all the scorecards for all the employees relating to the levels as per our policy have been developed, created. And as we are currently underway of aligning all the approved departmental SDBIP for the 21-22 financial year, which was signed off yesterday by our municipal manager. We are aligning that to all scorecards, and all employees will receive their scorecards for signage as from next week, Monday. We are currently live on the system, and all with the system approach is a two-phased one. The first one, all scorecards relating, as I've indicated, have been developed, created. One-on-one sessions are complete. We did our road shows. Everything is complete as per the council's request during the 2018 financial year with regards to a request from the councillors. And then also the second approach, which we have also completed, which will be rolled out starting next week as well, is the approach of the groups within the municipality. If I can make an example, for instance, the roads department, where you have more than 10 employees relating to one function, that will be dealt with in a group setup, not an individual scorecard. However, we are linking their portfolios to the core competency requirements, not KPIs as yet. But we are complete 100% as per our Section 52 claimage as well. I hope that covers Councillor de Vries' question, Speaker. Thank you so much, MM, Speaker.
Thank you so much. Can we give her and the team a hand? Thank you, Alderman de Vries.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for those explanations. I think that I want to join Councillor Spies to congratulate management on this achievement. I think it's an outstanding achievement. Very few public institutions have done what we are currently doing. So I think that, and with that also, I would like to support the recommendation that we take note of the report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alderman de Vries. So we, Council takes note with appreciation of the report and the confirmation of the completion.
Thank you, Speaker.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, colleagues. Are we all still together? I see there's a person that said we'd like to hear encore on the applause. Let's do it again then. Well deserved. Thank you, Executive Manager. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move to the next item? It's section D of our report. It's D1, the annual inventory count, 30th of June 2021. It's a correction of the quantities, pages 197 to 204. Any input or comment? Thank you, Alderman Verhoeven. Please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I've just got a question regarding the fuel at the Riversdale, which we lost to the value of 94,000 Rand, something like that. I haven't got an exact amount in front of me. But seemingly it was contaminated with water, whatever. Is that now to be thrown away? Or has it been thrown away? Isn't there any purpose that we can use it for anything, even to distribute for people to make fire? Question.
Thank you, Alderman Verhoeven. Any other input or comment before I request our municipal manager to respond to that?
Perhaps just also, Speaker, have we got insurance for that? So can we claim it perhaps from the insurance?
Thank you. Comment?
Thank you, Speaker. I don't know if the proceedings at MACO were broadcast live to maybe people that are not inside, because it does appear, Speaker, that the councillors are caucusing us. Because the questions that have been asked are exactly the questions that we asked at the MACO. But Speaker, we have prepared responses. I was told that some of the fuel will be given to me as part of my bonus, but I've not accepted it, Speaker. I've rejected it. But Speaker, if I may, with your permission, request the CFO to respond to the questions. CFO, if you can also tackle some of the other ones relating to the threshold and the meters and the insurance and everything else.
Come on, baby, light my fire. Thank you, CFO.
Thank you, Speaker. And yes, Councillor, the matter about insurance was indeed raised at MACO, at the Riversdale tank specifically, and also at some other tanks which show large variances from the information in the financial system. We do have a letter from Total in terms of the variances that talks to the when the impact of the weather on a dip reading of a large tank, the fuel itself can contract or expand, which causes certain fluctuations, and then how you convert that to liters from a dipstick reading. The NISNA one specifically was also mentioned at MACO. That is indeed also a larger tank, but we will again take that up with Total to ensure that what has happened at Riversdale, where the water contaminated the tank, is not happening or will not happen at a large tank like NISA as well. In terms of the use of the fuel, when this matter was reported to management earlier in the month, the disaster management manager contacted finance to say that, so in terms of the write-off for use in vehicles, there's a report from Total, which is also attached in the item, confirms that it is not usable for
There's a song called I'm Losing You. I'm going to sing it now.
the fuel from the tanks, but also we're also working with Total in that same process. We've
Telkom is not coming to your rescue, Speaker.
Thank you, ma'am.
No, Speaker, maybe the last thing is there was a question raised at NACO whether or not the amount would have an impact on the AG's report. We conclude that, Speaker, it will not, it's quite immaterial in terms in the greater scheme of things. So it will not have an impact on the AG's report. And lastly, that the period between which it occurred now was dependent on the total final conclusion in March that said it's water contaminated and cannot be used. Now we can deal with it in terms of the applicable legislation.
Thank you very much, Ren. Thank you, colleagues. We did receive a proposal and a seconder on this item. Not that I can recall. Can I then get a proposal and a seconder for this item, please? D1.
Speaker, Councillor Lamborghini, I would like to propose that we accept this item. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Councillor Lamborghini. Thank you, Councillor Lorse.
Speaker, Councillor Mumbai, can I second?
Thank you. It's now properly seconded. Thank you. Can we then move on to D2? That's a deviation report. It's the implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st of June 2021 to 30 June 2021, pages 205 to 311. 211. Thank you. Any input or comment on this report? If none, can we then move to then request a proposal and a seconder that we adopt this report?
Again, Speaker, Councillor Lamborghini, I propose that we accept this report as well. This is an annual report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Majid. Thank you.
Councillor Mumbai, I second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. Can we then move to the next item? That's D3. That's an annual deviation report on the implementation of our supply chain management policy for the period 1st of July 2020 to 30th of June 2021, pages 212 to 226. Input or comments, colleagues?
Speaker.
Thank you. Is it Councillor Majid?
Speaker, this is an annual report, and I think most of these reports prior to this one has been approved by Council. Therefore, I also propose that we accept the annual report with regards to this annual report that is in front of us. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Alderman van Hoeven, and then Councillor Spies on this matter.
My input is just, Speaker, if you look at the comparison on page 215, you will see that a new threshold has been set. So we will just request and we will check that we keep it up.
Thank you, Alderman van Hoeven. Now the MM differs slightly a bit with you. He said we'll keep it down, we don't keep it up. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Thank you, Speaker. As Councillor van der Hoeven just pointed out, I would like to, on behalf of Councillor van der Hoeven and Councillor Gericke, I would like to congratulate the MM and the CFO and all the senior management for achieving this. From 2017 to 2018, that is a deduction, what do you call it?
A reduction.
Yeah, of over 20 million rand. And I think we could give an applause for that. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Element van der Werpen, there you've got your platinum applause. And you deserve it. Thank you so much. Can we then move on? MM, thank you, sorry.
Sorry, Speaker, there was just a correction we made with Mako on page 215, where 30 June 2020 should read 30 June 2021.
Yeah. Thank you very much, MM. With that correction, thank you. Can we then move on? D4, it's a report on the implementation of the supply chain management policy for the year 1st of July 2020 to 30 June 2021. Pages 227 to page 1040. Any input or comment, colleagues?
Speaker, yes, can I comment, Speaker?
Please proceed, Councillor.
Speaker, this report also speaks the same, Speaker. It's in terms of the year from July last year until June this year. So it's all these reports, previous reports, was approved by council. Therefore, this annual report also contains those previous reports in the content. So therefore, I propose that we accept this report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Speaker, Councillor Struble here, and I second my colleague's recommendation proposal. Thank you.
And our manager of supply chain was very vocal on our policy and how it should be implemented, if I remember correctly, MM.
Speaker, there's no sound.
Thank you, ma'am. Please keep on recording. It's a project April 2021 to March 2023. Any inputs or comment? My good executive mayor, Matrix. When I entered this building, I saw that call him Professor Flores, sitting in one of the committee rooms, very hard at work. And last time when we had a council workshop or meeting, I saw in your new committee room here, there was lots of work going on there. So it's our executive mayor and then our lady Chris Singer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, your intelligence is working. We were indeed putting heads together because tomorrow we will have another national session where I will give an update in terms of how far we came with the skills maker and what are we going to implement by next year. By next year, we want to see the actual fruit of all the facets of the skills maker. There's been a lot of improvement, but we want the whole Katuts up and running by next year sometime. So indeed, Mr. Speaker, there's been a lot of progress, but we will deal with the gist of it in terms of the latest updates as well for everybody who's been part of this big picture. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, congratulations on Strongs. You keep on making us proud with the team. Thank you so much for your initiative and for your energy and your passion to make things work as well with everybody involved. Elder Lady Kurtzinger.
Yes, Speaker, thank you very much. It's actually quite sad that a disaster basically makes us aware of what the needs are when it comes to people that need to be skilled or upskilled in of job losses. I'm talking about the Iceland fires in 2017 and now again as far as the COVID is concerned. So in June we had a workshop that was held where the Garden Skills Maker implementation plan was presented to council.
I can't hear a word, Speaker. I can hear you speaking, but I can't. It's very soft.
Okay, let me try again. Can you hear me, Alderman van der Hoofen? I'm trying my best.
If you'd spoken like that in the first place, I would not have objected.
Okay, thank you very much. I will consider your grey hair with the next round. After the Knysna fires, it's sad to know that we only realize what shortages and the need. Yes, for implementation. This is really it's something that's an achievement that we can be very proud of. I will ask maybe one of my councillors or my colleagues that serve on this committee, maybe Alderman De Vries or Councillor Spies, to give us a bit more feedback because they basically serve on this committee. But then I also would like to sort of recommend that we accept the recommendation as on page 1042. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Elder Lady. Now giving the opportunity to Alderman De Vries. He indicated that he would like to make an input. Please proceed, good Alderman.
Thank you, Speaker. I missed someone. The former speaker have said because of our connectivity. But Speaker, I would just want to say, in fact, I want to second the recommendation on page 1042 that Council approves the implementation plan. The next item talks to the progress, so I might add something there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I think the connection is restored. Alderman De Vries. Apologies from Telkom. Can you please proceed?
No, Speaker, I'm not sure which part you heard. I just want to say that I would like to second the recommendation that Council approve the plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman De Vries. We missed the first part, but we've heard the last part. Thank you. This piece, would you?
And it's lots of people got on the wagon. I'm not going to call it a bandwagon. And some of us fell off. I'm not going to say me, but we are pulling this wagon through the drift. And congratulations, Chairperson of Training and Dr. Prince.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. Executive Mayor, you know, when you reach my age, you gather firewood, you mark vuur. Thank you, man. We back live. Can we then move to the next item? That's E3. It's the Municipal Human Resource Development Management System. And you know, it was really a pity, Elder Lady Kitzinger, that we couldn't. Huh? Ek het my brille nie op nie. E2 is a progress report on the Garden Route Skills Maker project. My apologies. Can we then move to that one? Thank you to a quite other ladies here on my right and say, hey, speaker, E2. Thank you, you too. Can we then move to E2? That is a correction, apologies. No, it's not. The item is not correction, apologies. It is just the progress report on the Garden Route Skills Maker project for the period ending June 2021. Thank you. Any input or comment? Other Lady Kitzinger?
Yes, thank you, Speaker. The Skills Maker Forum is a critical component to the Garden Route growth and development strategy. It is one of the 4 cross-cutting enablers identified, and that is skills development and it's also included in our IDP. I don't know from my colleagues if anybody from them would like to give more input.
Speaker, we cannot hear anything.
Okay.
Pump up the volume.
I'll start over. The Skills Maker Forum is a critical component to the Garden Routes growth and development strategy. It is one of our 4 cross-cutting enablers identified regarding skills development and included in our IDP. So this is actually quite an achievement for us as far as skills development is concerned. I don't know if Councillor Spies or maybe Alderman Chris has got something else to add to this, but I want to then recommend that we note this report as per page 167. 167. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kitzinger. Can we then have any further input or comments? I see Elder Lady Wormorans.
Thank you, Speaker. I will second that.
Thank you. I'll then allow Mr. If there are any other inputs or comments. Alderman de Vries.
Speaker, I wanted to second that, but just to say that I think the executive may call it that we are now in Ferrari mode. We start off slow and due to COVID and Afrikaans ons was gepootjie. But I think there's maybe just 2 things that the meeting with the B municipalities have taken place. We received a progress report on the work that Dr. Floors and the administration have done in terms of those meetings. And as the mayor indicated, tomorrow there is an engagement with business. So I just wanted to also support that proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman de Vries. No further input or comment? We've got a proposal and a seconder. Can we then move to E3? This is now the time for the Municipal Human Resource Development Management System.
Speaker, we cannot hear you.
8,000. Okay, thank you. We're back online. This is rather a big achievement for Gordon District Municipality after Ms. Holtzhausen approached Salga to implement the system at Garden Route. So Garden Route District Municipality and Breede Valley Municipality were chosen to pilot as pilot sites. Dr. Kuta presented the HR management system to council in June 2021 at a workshop for council, and research done by Dr. Kuta concluded that the skills development facilitators face various challenges that prevent them from functioning optimally and result in insufficient skills development programs in local government. So this is quite an achievement for us as Garden Route Municipality, and I really have to congratulate the department on this, and specifically the initiative that are taken by our officials to take us further and to make things happen in this municipality. Thanks, Trix, and your department, because this is really something to be proud of. So I want to recommend that council adopt the recommendation on page 1146, which says that let me just see what this says. That council approve the human resource development management system for the Garden Route District Municipality, and that a report on the progress of the implementation of the HRD management system in the Garden Route be supplied to council. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kitzinger. Can I invite any input or comment? It's an excellent achievement to start off with. No comment or input? Can I then get a seconder for this item, please?
Speaker Elder Lady Reuters, second.
Thank you, Elder Lady Reuters. Thank you, colleagues. The establishment and the launching of the Garden Route District Gender Forum. Before I go to there, I just want to know, do we have some form of a Naasland bibliotheek, a reference library where employees, I know we're now in the digital times, but I had a beautiful Naasland law books and stuff like that, where employees read or get, or at least be it on, virtually during our newsletters within our staff establishment to say, have you read the latest of this on that specific handbook instance? Do we have something like that? Staff, I'm just asking.
Speaker, thank you. Basically, what we're currently doing, it's a very valid point that you're raising, and I think we need to maybe establish more a formal sort of structure. Currently, all the relevant documents pertain requirements and all those kind of things are currently circulated via emails. But I think it is a very good idea to have some of a facility where we store all our relevant materials, so that people says that whenever they can, for that's actually very and we will definitely to see how we can that kind
No sound, speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. Please keep on recording. Thank you, ma'am. Please keep on recording. Thank you. It's just Councillor Lawsey that requests that he be excused. He's got another appointment, unfortunately, which he must attend to. Stay well, stay safe and healthy. Thank you, Councillor Lawsey. Can we then move to this item E4, Elder Lady Kritzinger?
Yes, Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's actually quite sad to admit that South Africa has one of the highest rates of violence inflicted on women and girls in the world. It's sad, and it's shocking to say the least of it. An interim working group was established at the Western Cape Provincial Gender Forum meeting in November last year, and at previous strategic sessions, it was highlighted that Garden Route does not prioritize gender-based issues appropriately. Garden Route in the meantime went and we implemented a gender-based violence policy, and we also adopted a gender mainstreaming policy, as well as the sexual harassment and an employment equity policy has also been adopted, so as that we can, in attempts to institutionalizing gender sensitive issues. So this is something that's basically very close to our hearts as far as all the female councillors and women in this organization is concerned. And I thus want to say that we shouldn't take this lightheartedly. It must be with the necessary. It must be. Dit moet gevat word met die nodige erns, so that we can really make a difference into the lives of our employees, of all the municipalities in our district, as well as females and girls in our district, and as far as our communities are concerned. I thus want to ask Council to adopt the recommendations as per page 1177. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Before I allow for a seconder, can I invite further input? Councillor Chava, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In addition to what has been said by Councillor Rafa, is that perhaps now that we have the policies in place, it will be important that internally we start to have, to make it a living document, so that in terms of the gender matters to be discussed, because these are sensitive issues. They are not so easy, it's not easy to talk about these things, even if when they happen in lives of people. But to have, as we said, the forums, they must start internally. These things must start first internally. We must be able now to have it from the administration perspective, from council perspective, to take it to our communities, so that they could be platform now to get the real data on the ground. So this initiative is welcomed. However, now we must work on how to implement it so that it can get the gist and the content of the real data coming from different stakeholders, including starting internally from councillors, from administration, and also from community members. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor Chaba. Any further input or comments?
Speaker.
Alderman van der Werven. Thank you, Alderman.
Yeah, I just want to check, Speaker, that that in this report, where the forum was established, it seems to me it was mainly just officials. I don't notice that councillors were involved in this. Am I correct?
Response to that? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. At this point in time, it was a effort to kickstart the process. We, at this point in time, has also, partnered with the Gender Commission as well as our partners in the provincial department, just to get this off the ground. I think as we go along, and as Councillor Chaba has indicated, that this initiative must now get momentum. And I think this is exactly what we're trying to achieve. Our next move will be to actually pitch this at the Municipal Managers Forum, to be able to sensitize the other municipalities, into this matter, and also ask the municipal managers to really pay attention to this matter, as it's not internalized in all the other municipalities. Obviously, as we go along, we will involve our councillors in the process to assist us and to advise us to establish, a forum for the district. So, effort to start and to actually establish such a forum. Thank you.
So, just like I saw that also attended.
Speaker, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Councillor Struble.
Thank you, Councillor De Vries.
The
Alderman De Vries.
figures of what happens. We will forever be aware that we should do something about it. It shouldn't be placed at the back, last. It's equally.
Speaker, unfortunately, Telkom is failing us.
Speaker.
We blame it on Telkom, Speaker, not on you. It's Telkom that is failing us, but I must go for an ear test.
I agree with you, Alderman. Speaker, if you can hear me, can I please second the proposal of my colleague, Alderman Kritzinger? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Struble. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move to E5? That's the leave policy. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
According to the policy, may I please be excused for 2 minutes?
You're welcome. Thank you, colleagues. It has been workshopped. I don't know if you would like to get a proposal so that we deal with all these policies that had been workshopped at once. We don't have to go one to one. We know they've been workshopped. We had the opportunity to submit our input. We did submit our input. Those inputs, and thank you so much to our executive manatrix, those inputs that do not belong in a policy but in a standard operational procedure, the SOP will then move to the SOP and not necessarily because of the administrative action. That's not a policy issue. Thank you so much for the clarity thereof. So can I propose that we deal with all these policies that had been workshopped at once? Can we agree on that? Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. I take it that we all agree to that. can we just note the various items? It's the leave policy, E5. It is the overtime policy, E7. E6 as well. E8.
And E7. E5, E6, E7, and E8.
Yeah, that's
Speaker.
those are the ones. E5, E6, E7, E8.
Yes, I propose that we accept these policies and the changes that were made in these policies. Thank you so much, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorary Kritzinger. Seconder for that.
Speaker,
Councillor Speaker.
Councillor May, I second it.
Thank you, Councillor Ime.
Councillor May.
I was just joking because we busy with ease. Or must I say, oh mama, oh colleague me. Thank you.
Speaker.
Alderman van der Werven, please proceed.
I hope you are finished with this item, Speaker, because I just want to bring to your attention that I get an email from Councillor Mandla Mtewani from Naisna, who says he's struggling the whole day to get in, but it does not materialize. So just take note that he is that you can't record him as absent from this meeting.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Werven. Honorary Kritzinger.
Yes, Chair. Thank you so much, Speaker. I just want to thank Ms. Holtzhausen and the team for bringing all these policies back to council and made the necessary adjustments and basically as times are changing and circumstances in the workplace change, these policies are not crafted in stone. So I must really thank her and for being so efficient and for making this a reality and keeping us up to date. So thank you, sir.
We definitely second that. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you. Can we then move to section F? Foxtrot. 1. Quarterly progress report with regards to the establishment of a district food pantry. April to June 2021. Mr. Meyer, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, once again, this is a brainchild of everybody within the Garden Route. And we did establish, we all know the history, but what I do want to allude to is the latest developments, Mr. Speaker and colleagues and MMU and your staff, is that about a week ago, there was a Facebook post where the people who are running the food pantry expressed their unhappiness, Mr. Speaker, in terms of developments. And if one even just have a glance at that, it is indeed embarrassing. My apologies. It is indeed embarrassing what was published. But I do want to say to the MM and CFO, out of that scenario, we were the leading light as per that. What I have done, Mr. Speaker, is that I then contacted the mayors offline. There is still a lot of misunderstanding in terms of the original agreements, because some municipalities or some mayors indicated that they are waiting invoices from the food pantry, and as soon as they receive the invoices, they will start paying, etc. So I don't know what's happening within the other municipalities. So I am not going to go into details, but it is indeed something that I have taken up, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
That's heartbreaking. We don't need that really now. Thank you. Can I get Alderman de Vries an opportunity? Thank you, Alderman.
Speaker, thank you. The reason why I put up my hand because I didn't hear the first part of what the executive mayor was saying, and I would like him to repeat, perhaps from his opening statement, because he made the reference to something embarrassing that was published, and then he went offline and he spoke to some local mayors. And I would like to, because it seems that if we don't carefully deal with the matters of the food pantry, it has become a political football, and it may become worse. And it will be bad actually for our district if that is the case. And a lot of these might be because of
And our Executive Mayor will respond to that. Thank you, Mr. Executive Mayor.
Mr. Speaker, if Alderman De Vries can just indicate on whether he's audible or whether I'm audible to him.
Sorry, I'm not sure, Speaker, whether I was still speaking, and then I'm not sure whether you have heard me. But if the Executive Mayor can just respond, but the issue that I have is that it becomes a political football. So I was very interested in the beginning in terms of what he was saying, because it will be a real disaster if we don't manage it properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Alderman De Vries, and to the benefit of everybody who keep on losing the connection, I said that we all supported the food pantry. All municipalities supported the food pantry. We then made the costing in terms of what would be the contribution per municipality for this food pantry to be sustainable. And I must state it here, out of the calculations, we consciously decided that we will pay the lion's share. We wanted to lead by example. Our contribution is the highest from all 7 other municipalities. Commitments were made, and the management of the food pantry, they then published to their frustrations in terms of other municipalities not coming to the table or not sticking to their commitments. They've identified all those municipalities. And it's indeed embarrassing because the majority of the municipalities are not sticking to their, and indeed, investigation.
No sound again.
Contact.
We didn't hear you, Mayor.
Lyk my nie ons het meer 'n Meyer nie, Steven.
So some caucuses have individually or collectively decided to raise money on their own, where their municipalities have refused to contribute. So some council.
Speaker, I don't know if you can hear me.
So that is the long and short of.
Speaker, I don't know whether you can hear me, but the mayor, 90% of what he was saying went lost.
Speaker, I want to concur. We didn't hear the mayor for the past 4 minutes.
Alderman De Vries, that you get the gist of it?
No, we didn't hear you.
All right,
And there's
in a
nothing
nutshell,
wrong with our ears.
colleagues, we are dealing with the contributions and the commitments that were made to the food pantry to make it sustainable. But there are municipalities that are looking at this politically, hence their refusal to contribute.
But we as the Garden Road District Municipality, we're going to continue to be the torch bearers of this important project. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Executive Mayor.
Speaker, I propose that we note the report.
Alderman de Vries, would you like, is that an old, I know you're not an old hand, is that an old hand or a new hand?
Speakers, it's a new and it's just a follow-up question on the information the Executive Mayor gave us. Apart from the Garden Route, out of the 7 municipalities, do we know how many is contributing? I don't need to know the names, but in terms of the number out of the 7, thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I'm now responding under correction because I don't have that information in front of me. But there's, out of the 7, there are 2 municipalities, I think, that are regularly contributing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Proposal and seconder then for this item. Thank you, Councillor Spies. Thank you, Alder Lady Kritzinger. Proposed and seconded. Colleagues, can we then move to our addendum F3, Foxtrot 3? It's the relocation of the George Fire Station to Mussel Bay. F2. Okay. Oh, if it wasn't for my elder ladies on the right hand side, F2 first and then F3. Apologies. I'll never ever forget my glasses again at home. I promise. F2.
Mr. Speaker, is an F2 not a Ford custom bucket?
Yeah, it was quite heavy on fuel, but yeah, they stay. Hulle het lekker skiebote getrek, hy bakkies. Update report en het 'n lang sitplek voor gehad. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Those were the days. Ja, veral ons het met die drivings ook nog gehad daai tyd. So dit het mooi gewerk. So, now I'm totally confused. Let me try again. It's Foxtrot 2. Update report of the actions taken by the district 19 address the please. I see that our good general is already showing us that he would like to present to us some, not going to say disturbing, some, he wants to share with us his presentation. So, Mr. Africa, is that your intention, that you would like to allow Mr. Gerrit Otto to proceed with the presentation?
Yes, indeed, Speaker. Mr. Otto will give us an update on the COVID-19 status. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Africa. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Gerrit Otto. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Speaker. Good afternoon, Councillors. Just to make sure there's an echo inside here.
My apologies, Mr. Otto. Can you please take off your mask when you use the mic?
Can you hear me now?
I think there's more than one of you. Can somebody just switch off some appliance close to you, please?
It seems like all appliances is off.
There's a ricochet when you speak.
Can you hear me? No.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Maybe let's carry on and try and sort it out in the job.
Can I, my apologies, Mr. Otto, we cannot hear you. It's ricocheting. We cannot make out what you're saying. Please again, with all due respect, just check if all devices that's also perhaps just connected are switched off. If that could be the problem, I'm not saying it is.
Can you hear me now?
It's very soft, but yes, we can hear you better. There's no ricochet any longer.
Okay, sorry, there was a technical glitch. It seems like there was a ricochet. I hope you can all hear me. Just to start off, Speaker and Councillors, I'm not the bearer of good news today, unfortunately, once again. And what I've done is I've also included some slides that was presented at the Cabinet meeting by Dr. Keith Clutter. So I need to acknowledge that some of the slides the information is hot from the Cabinet meeting this morning, but I felt that Council needs to get the position as we are at this point in time. So first of all, just to look at this specific slide, I want to show you the red line is Gauteng, and then if you look at the other line, that's basically where we are in the Western Province.
My apologies, Mr. Otto. There's something wrong with the sound. I don't know what it is. Can we perhaps... Is it possible that you can come to the chamber, Mr. Otto?
I can do that, yes, I can do that, but then you'll have to give me 10 minutes or so to sit up there.
It's fine. We will put this on hold until you get there, and then we can proceed. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, may I make a proposal?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor.
Can't we go to the next item, and then when they come back, then we just come back?
That's exactly what I wanted to do.
Thank you.
Let's leave that Ford van for a while, and let's go to F3, relocation of the George Fire Station to Mussel Bay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if you would like to further educate us on this matter. Additional information. I'm also aware of the fact that there could be changes in the recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to be brief because this has been coming a long way. We would all remember, Mr. Speaker, that the original intention was to move the fire station to Mussel Bay because of our properties to the current Mussel Bay fire station, and between Mussel Bay and the Garden Route, and we were there ready to start the project. And in terms of the law, we made some required public announcements in the newspapers, etc., etc. The relevant attention. George Municipality then made contact with the Garden interest, and the interests are based on the fact that between the two municipalities, George as well as the Garden Route, we're in a better position to respond jointly out of George, and they then came up with an offer to request us not to move our fire station to Mussel Bay, but they would make land available and transfer it to the Garden Route for us to then erect the fire station somewhere in George. That process is an advanced stage where George have agreed. I then also made contact with my counterpart, the mayor of George, when our MM Strato informed me. I then just wanted to make sure that George Council is also aware of what the two municipal managers are communicating. George Mayor then indicated that it is true that they are in favor of that, so much so that George is now in the process of transferring that property to us, for us then to have this joint, to do this jointly here in George. I then contacted my counterparts in Mussel Bay to inform them of the change of plans. And although they didn't swallow it nicely, Mr. Speaker, but they do understand. And this is where we're at now. We're no longer going to relocate to Mussel Bay, but a lot of things were taken into account. the uncomfort of moving our staff to Mussel Bay, all of those issues were put on the table. But with the property in Mussel Bay, Mr. Speaker, it is still up to us again as the Garden Road and Mussel Bay in terms of how can we utilize that property. So that is where we're at. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Any further input or comments on this report? If none, I take it that's a proposal. Can we get a seconder then for that, for the report?
Speaker, I will second. Elder Lady Reuters.
Thank you, Elder Lady Reuters. Can we then give Gerrit, is it fine with you now? Or do you still need some time?
I'm fine, Speaker, if you can hear me.
let me just fine tune my hearing aid and then I'll be able to do that. no, thank you, Gerrit. Thank you, Mr. Otto. Please proceed. And thank you so much for all the effort that you, how long is it now? Are you counting the days? Is it 400 and something?
Yeah, I'll stop counting.
Stop counting. And I see that you obtained some nice highlights in this time as well because of this.
Platinum highlight.
That's good. You look prachtig, moeder. Thank you. Welcome to the club. Thank you, Mr. Otto. Please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, as I tried to say earlier, it does not look good for us, specifically in the Garden Route and also the Western Cape, but mostly the Garden Route. So just to show you a couple of slides that was presented at Cabinet this morning as well. To start off with, I want to show you the graph indicating where Gauteng is. And if you look at the red line, you'll clearly see on the red line that Gauteng is moving down, but the Western Cape is still moving up. So it might have looked to us because they've let down the lockdown to a level 3 that we're out of the woods, but we're unfortunately not there yet, Speaker. I've also included, just to show you where we are in comparison with the other districts. You'll see we are on a plateau. You'll see a line there that shows that we in the Garden Route is on a bit of a plateau, but it's not meaning that we're moving down here. This is comparing each of the towns in the district as well as comparatively to each other on the amount of COVID positive cases we had for the first wave, second wave, and now for the third wave. Now, if we look at the third wave and you look at the blue line, that is George. You can see George is still climbing. Mussel Bay, though, is showing a little bit of a downward trend, but Knysna is showing an upward trend again, as with the other local municipalities in the district as well. I've just unpacked this in a graph to show you in more detail that the upward trajectory is still there on our graphs. This is just where we are compared to the second wave, and I'll show you. I can do that, yes. Maybe it will work better. Then, yeah, there it comes.
Thank you. Welcome back. Please keep on recording. Thank you, Gerrit. Please proceed, Gerrit. Oh, you were just waiting. Thank you.
Is the meeting still on, Speaker?
Yes, it is. We're just waiting a while.
Okay, no
We're
problem.
trying
Thank
to
you.
we're trying to get the presentation back on again after the lady from Telkom has taken a break.
I can see it, but I can't display it. Maybe I can just talk on the slides.
Yep.
Fine. Okay. So at this point in time, we've got a total of 48,000 on the 27th. We've got a total of 48,627 as a total caseload. A week ago it was on 45,000. Then in terms of active cases per 100,000 of population, at this point in time we are on 867 active cases per 100,000 of population. See my notes in the corner. Okay, we'll be back. Thank you. Okay, so in terms of this, George is now the highest cases per 100,000 of population. Unfortunately, the total deaths is on 1,759. Now we're looking at the hospital services, and I think that is where an alarming figure is going to come out now. First of all, the George Regional Hospital is under severe pressure. And that is the same situation for most of the hospitals in the district at this point in time. Harry is under severe pressure, private hospitals is under severe pressure. The supply of oxygen to hospitals has dramatically increased, and we're nearly at full capacity for supply of oxygen in these hospitals. And the district hospitals have de-escalated non-essential services, so they're just focusing on helping and assisting COVID patients and any other emergency that comes into these hospitals. I want to show you this. This is a figure that I got this morning, and it's alarming to see the George area. The current bed status report actually indicates that the George Hospital is 121%. So that just shows you where we are. And then what we normally do from the Department of Health side is our hospitals is getting full. We send people to our districts next to us, which is Worcester is supposed to take, Worcester and Paul. Now look at Paul, 147. There's no way that we can send people out to go be an assistant in other areas. And on my slides, I've made some notes there that you will find what I've indicated. You must remember, this weekend, the lockdown has eased. We are in for alcohol-related trauma that will be added to the current burden of COVID. So it's not a good picture going into this weekend. This morning, Dr. Keith have clearly indicated this is their four-step approach. They definitely down in the red now, where they've exceeded their current capability in terms of medical assistance. In terms of our isolation and quarantine, this is updated over the last 24 hours. People have reached that has reached the 10-day period. Isolation, we've got 76 people now, and quarantine 7. Petra is we have spoken to Gateway Lodge from the Department of Health side and Public Works. If need be, it will be opened at the second Q&I side, but for now it's not open. Now the one thing that's going to help us going forward is vaccines. And I know there's been many phone calls, many WhatsApps, many concerns, even myself, many late nights that we fighting with people because we feel we need more vaccines to get to the risk. First, we said the metro is the advantage they get more, but look at the figures now, you'll see it's not really the case. This is just a snapshot of what needs to be done in terms of vaccinations in the Western Cape. First of all, how many for phase 2 and how many for phase 3. Phase 3, right at the end, being the 18 to 34 group that will only open from the 1st of September. Now, in short, I can tell you that the Department of Health was clear. Their focus has been to get the 60+ group, as many as possible, vaccinated. Now, the reason for that is that it is normally the 60+ group that clogs the hospital. But to be blunt, that is the people that need it. So if we could treat as many as possible, or vaccinate as many as possible of the 60+ group, by implication, you free up space in our hospitals for the 50+ vaccine. So that is where the focus was. So many people say, I'm 35 plus. I think I can walk in the vaccinated. The Western Cape, because they were free, they're trying to keep back the vaccines for the 60 plus. And you'll see now in the next couple of slides exactly how they panned out. This is just the Western Cape picture, and it will show you clearly what has been done up to now. I'm not going to go into this detail. For the district, at this point, for today, there's already been 82,972 vaccinations done. To break it down, the Isisonke program, remember that is the one with the healthy workers, was 7,880. The J&J program, 4,750. And I must indicate to you that the J&J program, that is the one shot that was used for the healthy workers, but it's also now used for farm workers. The reason being you don't have to go twice. It's one shot. And also, and the Pfizer was used for the old age young. That is 70,369. Now, of the total second dose given is 13,000. So you can realize that we still need to keep the balance between the 70 and the 30 for the second dose. Now, many of the second doses now come into the vaccination sites, which is causing this bottleneck that we should do that was going to come, and it's putting pressure on the vaccination sites as well. But then, fortunately, our 8th private vaccination site has opened, and then the special allocation of J&J vaccines for special groups has been received, and as I've indicated, that's also been used for farming communities. I want to unpack the other groups for you now. Then in terms of the currently what the vaccination is in rollout is being done is for SASA and ECD staff, as well as the next group of 35 plus that's coming online. Okay, it's lagging behind, but I'll carry on with my presentation. On the slides that will hopefully present to you very soon, you will see that the total in the garden route, we actually second in the province when it comes to registering and vaccinating the 60 plus. At this point in time, 71.5% of our 60 plus group have been registered and 61% have been vaccinated. So we really and hurting immediately for the 60 plus, which was what we wanted. So actually we've achieved that one. When you look at the 50 plus group, maybe I can go one back just to show council that last single came through. So you'll see they registered 71, vaccinations given 61%. Now, Maya, you in the category just 50 plus.
It just shows you what the baby boomers can do.
Yeah, so now for the 50 plus group, we've registered 41%. So now we know focus on getting more people in the 50 plus group registered as well. But then vaccinations, unfortunately, only 70%. So there's a reluctance that the people that are vaccinated are registered to vaccinate. One, but two, they also don't get their messages yet from the Department of Health because we haven't got enough vaccines. But luckily, there's good news coming. Wait, more to come. So on the 35 plus group, on the 35 plus group, they've registered 25.6% and 7.5% of them is already been given the shot. This is a cascade, and this is also from Dr. Kifuta's slides, just to show you the Pfizer and J&J vaccines that has come already. And you'll see there at the bottom of my note there. It was clear to me out of the Department of Health that they were really struggling in terms of getting enough vaccines to cover the demand. That's supply demand. They now have promised us that from the mid-August, we're going to have more vaccines. We'll really keep up with those vaccines. And they are also expecting an additional 60,000 J&J vaccines to come online. So, in addition to the normal supply pipeline, there's more vaccines. So, the problem we've had in terms of the rollout, and a lot of the municipalities get it, not going to help people come and vaccinate. You can't give you vaccines. That is going to really be addressed going forward. If you look at the last 3 weeks, just on the next slide, it shows, you will see that for the last 3 weeks, there's a little bit of an increase from the Department of Health side in terms of vaccination, but nothing what we want. Just for interesting sake, the percentage of females that is already vaccinated in the Western Cape is on 58.78%, and males are only on 41%. So it seems like males is confident now there, but more males is not going. This is just for your information. This is the rollout of the special groups, but I must indicate that the idea is to move away from the special groups. Everyone on work as from after the month. So do it as again focusing on the groups, the higher groups first, but trying to be as possible going forward. And then now I must also the dark side of what I do is I must also keep an eye on this. And this is where we are now in terms of funeral undertaker position. It's the first time that we started the council, and I thought we see this. At this point, of the total 500 spaces, still got available. My notes expired now. We've got more than 40%, and then we've got 1,015 coffins that's available. So that does not be that bad. In terms of worst case scenario, which I always do from a disaster perspective, the green part, what my predictions are, so far was a little bit not far out of the city way. That way it's like one spot on. If we're going to go there, you will find that we're going to get around about 7,000 active spaces. That is based on the same type of calculation and also and that will be middle August. That will be middle August. Once I can make this details available to you on the resource account, you can Google it, see the dates and the amounts. And then also in terms of bottom lines here, what we say for COVID kids, and my worst case today, inevitably this weekend, saw 70. So and I'll always be good this going forward. One thing I also realized is regulation. So you can't open this place.
Thank you very much, Gerard, Mr. Otto, for your presentation. It's clearly indicative that we must guard against complacency and getting tired of this. We need to fight it until the end. But thank you so much for the presentation. Any questions, input or comments on the presentation itself? Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Gerard. Gerard knows this speaker, and I've been telling everyone who cares to listen that I do not understand what is going on with the vaccines. But I think I should start with this issue of the vaccine hesitance. I think, councillors, it's important that you now realize that the numbers of people that are taking up the jabs is not encouraging. Even if it's because of vaccine shortage or whatever, but just the numbers are not encouraging. I think it's important that as leaders, something needs to be done in terms of the communication part to really go out and really encourage people to vaccinate. I'm sure you have seen the MEC of Health in Limpopo that has been on the malls, on the streets, encouraging people to take the jab. And Limpopo is now one of the leading provinces on vaccination. And if you compare the whole issue of development between Joburg or Gauteng, Limpopo, and Western Cape, the infrastructure, the Western Cape is far ahead than areas like Limpopo. I mean, we don't have rural areas in the strict sense. You only have got farms. there they've got lullies and serious rural areas. And those people are moving ahead of us. And secondly, the issue of the approach in terms of how we apply the policy, I do realize that the Western Cape has taken this position that we target the 60 years because that's the most vulnerable part. But the latest if you look at the percentage that you've just given, comparatively to the country in terms of the 35 plus registration figures, I don't think we can be proud. I was saying I'm still agitating for the municipal staff that is in the front line to be part of these groups. There is no way that people are moving around with people's houses collecting refuse are told that they are not essential staff. Those people are exposed to all sorts of things. You can count them, the categories. I mean, should we choose now between a traffic cop and the water process controller? Which one is more essential than the other? I don't think that's what we need. Just saying, as much as people have been explaining, I think as Garden Route, working together with all those other partners in the job, we need to maybe up our strategies on communication and dealing with this vaccine hesitancy and pushing people to register. In fact, in other provinces, nobody is turned away, registered or not. Walk-ins have become standard. Weekend vaccination has become standard. And I think we are moving behind everybody else. I mean, we are behind the Eastern Cape, we're behind Limpopo, we're behind KZN, we're behind Gauteng. And by our own standards as the Western Cape, that's not where we belong on any of the things that we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MM. Yeah. Can we note with concern the presentation of this report? Thank you, Councillor Spies. Thank you, Councillor Harris. Thank you so much, Mr. Africa, your department, and Gerrit. Thank you so much, MM.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I've listened to Mr. Gerrit, but something I just wonder. We are focusing almost so much on the public sector in terms of this process. How do we engage the private sector in terms of encouraging their own staff who are eligible for the vaccination process to vaccinate the people or to ask them to go and be vaccinated at different points in George or in the district region. So what is there on the private sector?
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Right. Yes, we are going to get to a point where private companies are going to have to protect the people in their employ that have been vaccinated and force the people that have not been vaccinated and say you can't come to work if you haven't been vaccinated. we're going to get there. So I'd like to agree with Councillor Harris. Just a pivot. There are other, like the MM suggested, there are other things that, as a communication strategy, we have a very big taxi association community in the garden route. And those associations must be approached with education to say, at least if we get your drivers and your guards to register. I know the guards are too young in it though, so. But there are things that we're going to have to think outside of the box to get this done. And then I'd just like to express my sincere gratitude, Mr. Africa, Gerard, all the first responders. You know, if we are getting tired of not having a dop and having to wear a mask, I have no idea where you guys are psychologically and how exhausted you must be. So my sincere gratitude for your perseverance and for your uithou vermoë. Thank you very much. And we appreciate the constant reports. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. Alderman De Vries. Thank you, Alderman.
Speaker, thank you. Let me also start by express my appreciation to our staff that on a daily basis deals with the pandemic as a part of the daily task. A lot of us, while we are part of the system, we're not there on the front line as things are happening, and sometimes sitting in meetings and receiving those reports firsthand and knowing in terms of what is happening. I want to thank the MM for a very frank assessment, sketching to us in terms of what is happening in our district. Because at times, whether it's national or provincial governments, we try to have this rosy picture about how many vaccinations per day. But we don't at times say how many vaccinations out of what. And I think that to support the two previous councillors, I think it's important that we develop a plan whereby we involve the public representatives. I think that one of the things that have stopped the spread of the violence, looting to other provinces was actually when community leaders, politicians, councillors went outside into the public and actually talked to the communities. PE, the taxes raisins, in other areas, people went even loudly speaking to their communities. Now, I think that the similar approach as the example used by the municipal manager of the one MEC, where you go to the streets and talk to people. Of course, we must do that within the current COVID regulations. But I really thought.
My apologies, Alderman De Vries. There was a break in the communication.
Okay. No, what I was saying is that we must think out of the box and we must support the administration. And if we have to develop plans that where we do things differently, then we should do that. Our communication, and I'm doing it on social media and other media platforms, it doesn't reach everybody. And we need to engage people in another manner. And I was saying that I thank the MM for a very frank picture of what is happening within our district when it comes to vaccinations. Because I think that at times when figures are thrown at us, we are being given a rosy picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries. I see that somebody from the JOC would like to make an input, please proceed.
Thank you so much, Speaker, and I really concur with all the inputs from the municipal manager, from the previous councillors as well. I really think Councillor Alderman Stephen de Vries, we have to now review our communication strategy, which we have to include the business chamber. I think we have to realize that is what the MM also, reported, that our economic future is at stake here, and we need to take ownership of all our current reality. And I think we need to have a new communication strategy going forward. I think it's critical that we can get ahead of this disease. The other matter is also Councillor's speech in terms of emotional, exhaustion. It is really taking a toll, for our EHPs to attend funerals on a Saturday, some of them 5, 6 funerals on a Saturday morning, and even on a Sunday morning. You can just imagine, the trauma that our people are going through. But we have requested some trauma counseling, but it is a challenge. But I think if we all work together, we can get ahead of this disease. Thank you so much for that input as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Africa. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Thank you, Speaker. They are, as you can see, I just got my hair cut on Monday. And while I was sitting in the barber's chair, my barber is a pastor. So he himself is a very influential man. But he told me that he was going to wait to get his vaccination. Now, he is a personal contact service person. He's cutting 20, 25 people's hair every day, and he's not getting vaccinated. Is there a way to get people in that line of service to say, but you cannot continue to run your business and do this type of job. You can go stand on the corner and sell cigarettes, but you can't do this.
That's very true. Thank you, MM.
I think, Speaker, the problem we're going to have now is that vaccines are coming, and they're coming in numbers. And people are not going to go and get vaccinated. And whatever has been happening to say this is our my problem is we need to get people to go out and take the jab. That is the challenge we're going to face. Now that the Aspen branch in PE or Kabeja is now shipping out the J&J vaccine for the AU, we are not going to receive vaccines if people are not registered and if people are not going to go and get vaccinated. And the biggest challenge now is that the communication strategies that we employ must reach those people. Those people that has got an influence on 20 people a day. It's a big number because those people talk to other 20 people and more, and so on. I'm trying to say we have got councillors at the local municipality that sit here, and we are all here. Our communication section is in this meeting. We are all saying we've got to change or gear up our communication strategy. Government is going to bring vaccines. Vaccines are coming. That's a given. They are coming, but the numbers that have just been presented, it's a big problem. Those, I think, leaders that have been vaccinated, and so must go out and encourage people to get vaccinated. But it has to be done in a coordinated fashion. That's why Farad was saying we have to have a focused approach on encouraging people to vaccinate. If you look at the 50+ group that you just presented, it's not vaccinating. They're not vaccinating. They are, some of them have registered. They're not taking the jab. You know that you will find a clinic on a Friday with no one, and the nurse is sitting there with vaccines. And we have to send emails around to say, please, is there anyone in the category that can come? And it's a problem. So, Speaker, I think the issue on the communication, encouraging people to go out and vaccinate, must be on top of the agenda for everyone. To this end, from our side as administration speaker, I'm saying communication department and the COVID command council are going to come up with new ways in terms of communication. But I'm saying leaders in your political parties, in your wards, in your individual, in churches, there has to be something that is done.
Yeah, I think political parties can also assist, also in a major way, major events, not only major, but social distancing, those type of social.
The speaker, they've got seriously established networks in terms of how they communicate with voters, political parties. They've got huge groups of people that they send messages to about a lot of things, including voting. We're asking those platforms to be used to encourage people to go and vaccinate. Use those platforms where they reach even people in far-flung areas. They are able to reach.
Yeah. Thank you. Can I give Councillor Mangaliso an opportunity, Alderman van der Hoeven, and then Councillor Spies? No, Councillor Spies, just.
Thank you, Speaker. I have been listening to the challenges that we face in making sure that people get vaccinated. And one of the areas which I'm not sure whether we've touched it is the limited amount of vaccines that we get at certain points. I have been receiving a number of complaints at local vaccination sites where we have community members going for the third time. They have been registered, but it is the third time that they have gone there and are being told that we do not have enough vaccine. We only received 17, we only received 20. Now I'm trying to understand as to how do these vaccines get allocated? And then secondly, as to we are making people very despondent when they have gone to these sites for so many times and have not been assisted. So I would really like to know how these vaccines are allocated. Because if it's based on the number of people that are registered, then everybody is supposed to be assisted. If walk-ins are only accommodated, and people are coming in from other towns, they stay in another town, and they would go to some other vaccination site, which then also contributes to that challenge that we have. So I'm just thinking that we should seriously look at this matter from this particular angle as well. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mangaliso. Alderman van der Hoeven.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat anything that has been said. I wanted to raise the issue that Councillor Mangaliso just raised, but I just want to add to that and say that how can we promote and encourage people to go and register if there are no vaccines and if they are shown away from vaccination sites. That is the one issue. The second one is perhaps we must think about issuing a sticker or even a T-shirt for those who've vaccinated, so that other people can see who has vaccinated, and that will encourage people to do the same, especially leaders, especially the mayor. He should always continuously wear a T-shirt saying, I've been vaccinated, do the same.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would recommend that it should be a blue T-shirt. Thank you.
Just as long as the needle is sharp. No, we had our
Red
experience
T-shirt.
when we received our jabs. I was fortunately, I think I was number 124 in the queue, and the cutoff was at 130. At 6.5, I'm looking for. The fourth wave December. Yeah. So we're
Speaker,
going to
you
have.
are, Speaker, there's really a problem on your side. So please check what is happening. But it's frustrating to sit here and you can't hear half of the issues that are deliberated.
Thank you, Alderman. We experienced the same frustration. It's unfortunately Telkom. We locked the call with him, but the lady keeps on telling us this meeting is now being recorded after she had a break. So we're experiencing problems not internally, but it's Telkom struggling to correct it for us. Our apologies on behalf of Telkom and my apologies as well. Can we move to G1? As a report on the illegal activities on provincial roads in Garden Route District Municipality, page 1278 to 1280. Thank you. Any input or comment? Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Speaker, not much else to say about this report. We know that there are lots of things happening on the sides of our roads, but there's a specific definition of what is an illegal structure as provincial government sees it. So I'd just like to propose that we take note of this report.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Any input or comment on this matter? Alderman van der Werven. Alderman van der Werven, please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity. Speaker, we fully agree that illegal activities on roads should not be allowed at all. And all signs that is illegal must be removed with immediate effect. But there must also be consequences. And we look forward that we deal with it, but that people account for what they are doing, because it is risking people's lives. It is the same as looting. It is 100% the same as looting. It is unlawful and we should deal with it strictly.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Werven. I take it that's a seconder. Okay.
I'll do that.
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move to G2? It's a quarterly report to inform Council regarding the progress of the Roads Department and the financial projections. Page 1281 to 1287. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Daniels. The department continues to do exemplary work. You have got some serious challenges, especially borrow pits and the availability of gravel, and keeping teams together and keeping and recruiting grader operators. But that's part of the job. I'd like to propose that we note the report, Speaker.
Thank you. Can I give our Executive Mayor, thank you, Alderman, the opportunity, and then Councillor Harris. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is a point of clarity. Is Mr. Daniels in the house? He looks unrecognizable.
Thank you. Can I give Alderman van der Werven and then Councillor Harris an opportunity? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Mine is about Swartberg Pass. I see that quite a lot of money was spent in order to fix the road and to make it, what do you call it, usable, properly usable. I want to know, I see that traffic has been disbanded from there, that it is a no-go. Perhaps just the indication what is happening and what are the costs of what has happened there regarding the snow the last few weeks, the last few days. And can't we put up a sign that to say no snow?
No slow, go slow. Thank you, Councillor Harris. You still want to come in?
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Follow read my mind, so,
No snow. Thank you. Would you like to respond, Executive Manager?
Yes, thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Councillor van der Water, other councillor. Due to the magnitude of the snow that fell the past couple of days, by the weekend, it was decided by Provincial Traffic and Disaster Centre to close the pass. As it was very, very slippery with the snow. And that's what a lot of people complained over that because they want to go see the snow. But safety first, in the COVID pandemic, we can't allow our people to go off road and just for snow. Thank you much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniels. Thank you, colleagues. Can we move on? Section H. Z opera. That's the zonne-aande altyd is here. H1, report on the business plan for the establishment of the regional fresh produce market. Sorry, page 1, 2, correct me. I think it's 1288 to 1361. I see somebody that said, yeah, on my left-hand side. I don't know, Mr. MM, if you would like to elaborate on the report, or can we just present it? Any input or comment?
Thank you, Speaker. In my communication, I did mention that in the agenda, there's two items which I termed groundbreaking, and we're getting into uncharted waters. You will know, Speaker, that since the Council strategy planning session, when it was agreed that we must ensure that we look at Section 84 and work on those functions. The Department of Agriculture. We had a session last week with the HOD and the various officials. They have assigned a number of officials to assist us in ensuring that we implement this. You will recall, Speaker, that this council approved the establishment of a development agency for the garden route. This is one of the programs that will be part of that development agency. We've done the feasibility studies. We have now reached the stage of business plan that contains all facets, including funding options and operational model. We will be working with the experts from the department to determine what's the best model. You would have seen in the business plan that there's quite a number of suggestions in terms of how it can be funded by the various finance institutions. But we'll make sure that whatever is decided upon, we bring it to council on how that will be done. Now, there is a lot of discussion that must still happen in terms of the governance model for this kind of project. At this stage, we don't want to crowd council about that. we will be coming back with various options on what is the best governance model for these. Whether, yes, firstly, it's under the development agency, and whether or not there are no other better governance models. It is only then that councillors should be able to be scratching your heads about boards and directorships and failed SOEs and all those matters, not at this stage. What we are requesting now, and it will be the same in the next item, is for councillors to also do your own research as you'll be coming with this, to look at what are the best operating models that we have learned in South Africa in delivering these SOEs or municipal entities. What is it that Garden Route must not repeat that has been done in other areas? But we'll be bringing properly researched options to council. And we are saying on this item, we are at a stage where we can say, we've done the feasibility studies. We have now finalized the business plan, which we're presenting to council to adopt and to allow us to move forward with looking at finance models and to raise those capital to ensure that it becomes a reality. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Municipal Manager. Any further input or comments on this matter? Alderman van der Werven.
Thank you, Speaker. I've just got one question, and my question is, where is this market going to be allocated? Because that is vital. They say it's like in any business, your allocation, allocation, allocation.
Yes, Speaker, you would have seen when we were discussing the feasibility study, we've said it must be located in George. The market, it's obviously because of infrastructure, the roads and the networks that are available to ensure that produce is received and dispatched easy. There's quite a number of farms and both owned by Garden Route, the state, and private properties for that matter that are being considered. But it will be physically in George, and we are very much keen to make a determination as to the actual physical space. But obviously, it must have easy access to the infrastructure that will enable the market to move without, or the produce to move without hindrance. Thank you, sir.
That's a man that doesn't think out of the box. He doesn't see any box. He just goes forward. Festina lente, Ntate. Hasten slowly. But thank you so much. Any input or comment on this matter? If none, can I then get a proposal and a seconder for it, please?
Speaker, I will propose Councillor Reuters.
Thank you, Elder Lady Reuters. Seconder.
Speaker, Councillor Struble seconds.
Thank you, Councillor Struble. Can we then move on to H2? That's the report on the proposed project energy generation by Garden Route Energy Company, Greco. It almost sounds like a toy, that's a child's toy, Greco. Yeah, thank you. Greco, you must proceed.
Speaker, I believe H2 is replaced by H3 in the addendum.
Yes, please. We've read both of them. Thank you.
Speaker, we firstly just like to make one amendment in the recommendations on this item, that the item that spoke about the accounting officer being given the authority to sign power purchase agreements must be removed. At this stage, it's quite premature. We do not think that it is necessary at this stage or maybe in the future. So what will remain is where council notes the progress and then agrees to approve the establishment of the special purpose vehicle for the municipal entity. For now, the name in our head is Greco. It can be memory, it can be space, but it's that kind of situation we're in. Again, we don't want councillors to, at this stage, really get frustrated about there's no company. It must still be started. There is no procurement process that has begun. For us to play in the space has now opened with the 100 megawatts announcement by the minister. and for municipalities to participate, we need to have an enabling environment where Garden Route can play in the space. And we are saying we must have a municipal entity that will take the whole process forward. So we are proposing, Speaker, that we get your permission to establish a special purpose vehicle. We're calling it in this report the Garden Route Renewable Energy Company. And then we will then take the process forward with those 3 recommendations.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. Thank you. If there are no further input or comments, can I then get the proposal and a seconder for the recommendation as amended? Hello. Thank you, Councillor Spies. Seconder.
I'll second it, Speaker.
Thank you, Other Lady Bommerans. Notice of motion. In closed session, none. Can we then move to the additional items as per the second addendum? No. Okay, then I won't do it. So I invite you all for some tea and some nice biscuits. And let me take this opportunity to thank everyone for their participation for this very constructive, productive, progressive meeting. And thank you so much, Manager, and all our special staff members that prepared those reports for us. They don't come by pressing just a button and it pops out on the other side. It's effort. And we thank you for that. And we commitment to produce such reports to this council where it's really worthwhile to read, not only to read and to debate on it. I really we all can be extremely proud of our staff and our institution as a whole. My sincerest thanks for and appreciation to everyone that participated in a constructive and, I'm not going to use the word friendly, cordial manner. I really appreciated that. Stay safe. Let me just say, Mr. MM, tomorrow I'm having a Mussel Bay Council meeting, so I will most probably not be able to attend the memorial service because I'm chairing that council meeting tomorrow as well. Yeah, double trouble. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Thank you.
Bye, Speaker.
If you look at the content, it's not